Are you realizing that Valentine's Day is only 14 days away and there's a few people on your list that you want to get something a little extra for? Well, do I have the thing for you. You guys, Valentine's Day is only 2 weeks away. Don't worry, don't panic. I know you're like me and also want to crochet some stuff for people that you love in your life, but are maybe having trouble finding the right project. Well, have no fear, fellow crocheters. I'm planning, emphasis on planning, doing a 14-day series on crocheted Valentine's Day projects that you can make for your loved ones. Hello everyone and welcome to Lotta Fun. My name's Giselle and today we're going to be crocheting Valentine's Day themed chapstick holders. It's a pretty simple tutorial. You don't need to be a super advanced crocheter to be able to do this. So grab your yarn, grab your hook, and follow along. So for today's materials, what we're going to need is a crochet hook. I'm going to be using a 3mm, but use whatever you have handy. Just keep in mind that if it's similar or close to the 3, you're probably okay with using the same amount of stitches that I'm using. If it's bigger though, like a 5, you're probably going to use less. The reason why I'm using a 3 is because I want my stitches to be tiny and close together so that the chapstick stays snugly in place. Speaking of, you're also going to need a chapstick. I got this one at Walgreens. It looks very Valentine's Day themed in my opinion. This is just your standard generic acrylic yarn. This is in red obviously and it is a 4-weight yarn. But again, use what you have. Just keep in mind if it's a thicker yarn, you're not going to need as many stitches. If it's a thinner yarn, you'll probably need more, but adjust accordingly. And I'm going to show you what to look out for as you're doing your project. That way, if it's not working up the way that it's supposed to, you can adjust quickly rather than finish all the way to the end just to realize that your chapstick doesn't fit. And that might have happened to me the first time I did this because I wasn't thinking. But that is the point of this channel so that you guys can learn from my mistakes. So first we're going to start off with a magic circle. And we're going to do 10 single crochets in our magic circle. Oops. Sorry. Tail's in my way. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And keep in mind if your chapstick is thicker than this one, you're probably going to need to add more rounds in your magic circle. So next we're going to pull our circle closed. Just making sure it doesn't get twisted. There we go. And from here, we can go ahead and start measuring. You want to make sure, and let me see if I can line this up to where you can see it. See how you can still see a thin outline of the yarn? That's what we want because we want our chapstick to fit snugly into our chapstick holder, but not too snug to where it's not going to be able to come out, and also not too loose to where it's going to fall out by itself. So I feel pretty comfortable with that. So next, I'm going to make this project super easy on y'all. Could you go fancy on it? Yes. Do you have to? No. Because if you wanted to, instead of working in the rounds, which is what we're going to do, because I find it a little bit easier, especially if you're a beginner, you could join your stitches together in a slip stitch, then crochet up is I believe how most people refer to it as, and then make another round, slip stitch. That way your rows stay even, because a lot of times when you're working in your rounds, you're going to find your rounds like in the joining area a little bit off because it's almost going and you're almost crocheting in a diagonal kind of way, but it'll make more sense as we go along. But for right now, all you need to know is we're going to start working on our walls. So first, I make sure I'm not using the tail, and let me get a little bit more yarn. And while I'm doing this, as far as other supplies. You can use whatever you want. If you want to use it as just like a sleeve for your chapstick, you're more than welcome to. I like keychains, so I got these at Walmart. I want to say this came with 3, and I bought it for like 97 cents, maybe $1.50. So pretty inexpensive, but those will come into play later. But I'm going to leave those there for right now. Okay, so next, we're going to work in the back loop only. So let me clearly show you that. Okay, let me make that hole a little bit bigger just so I don't lose it. Okay, so in crochet, this is your stitch right here. Let me make sure you can see it clearly. So when I say we're going to work in the back loop, I'm referring to this loop right here. So here's your front loop, here's your back loop, because we're working on it this way. But the reason why I'm doing that, it's going to help create an edge. Not only is it going to make it look nicer, but it's also going to hold its shape a bit better too. So before we start on that, I'm going to pull my tail one more time just to make it secure. And I'm going to get ready to work in my back loop. And again, we're doing 10. So there's that. And what I'm going to do as well, sorry, let me undo that a little bit, is I'm also going to try to work my tail into at least my first round as well. That way I don't have to worry about it later. But you definitely don't have to do this. So if you're getting confused by it, please do not worry about it. So there's 1. Next is my back loop. 2. See, I'm having to move my tail because I'm crocheting it into my round, but I do have to move it to see where I'm going next. 3. Oops, I missed it. 4. 5. 6. 'Making sure I'm not splitting my yarn. 7. 8. 9. And last one, 10. I'm going to go ahead and cut my tail now, just so it's out of my way some. Make sure you don't accidentally cut your project. I have also done that before. So there's going to be our base. And before I continue, I'm just going to make sure that I got my measurements right. Oops, on my chapstick. That way, if I have to undo or frog anything, I'm doing it at this point rather than it halfway done. And sometimes it's hard to get it in there. There we go. So yeah, I think that's going to turn out nice. And if you're having trouble telling whether or not it's going to fit properly, you can do one more round and that will help. I've just done this enough now to where I kind of know how my tension ends up, so which matters on how big of your size of chapstick holder you're making. So I feel pretty confident in this, but we're going to do one more round and then we'll measure again. So instead of going on back loops now, you're just going to go through the full stitch because now we're done with our little lip. That's 1. And what we're going to do 2 is we're going to go ahead and add a stitch marker. And you can just keep going in the round and round. You just have to be really careful that you don't accidentally drop a stitch. Or else, instead of being like an even tube going all the way up, it's going to start going into like an inverse cone. So we had 1. Again, we're going through both loops now. 2. Making sure I'm going through both loops. 3. 4. Oops. Come back here, loop. Let's just redo that one. I'm pretty sure that was 5, but that's another good thing about the stitch markers. We know where to count from. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That was 5. 5. 6. 7. 8, 9. Okay, I thought I had accidentally put a second stitch in here. So let me just, yeah, I did. Okay, I don't know if y'all saw that, but I did accidentally put 2. But again, that is why the stitch marker helps. Because I knew that I accidentally did an increase because I was coming up with 11 stitches instead of 10. So we're going to count again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. 10. And if you don't want to crochet along with me, which I totally get and understand, I'm going to leave the pattern below, like in the description. But if you do want to crochet with me, the reason why I'm leaving my mistakes, I hope it doesn't confuse you because that's the last thing I want to do. But I do want to show you common mistakes made and how to best fix them. So that's why I leave them there. So let me go ahead and take out my stitch marker. I'm going to pull up on my loop a little bit just so I don't lose it. That way we can go ahead and measure our chapstick holder. And it's always hard getting it in. It's a lot easier to get it in once you have it a little bit longer. But again, I don't want to waste our time on a project that isn't going to fit it. But you can see there, that's going to fit really nice. Like, look, I'm moving it and it's not coming off. So I think this is going to be a perfect size for us. So let's keep going. So next, I want to make sure I get my right stitch. It's going to be right here. And we're just going to keep single crocheting all the way around. Oops. So that was 1, 2, split my yarn, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Perfect. And I know it's going to look a little bit weird to begin with, but this is a trust the process moment, okay? So this is, what round are we on? I think we've done about 4 rounds or so, or maybe my 3rd round. But the round number really doesn't matter because it just depends on how far up on the crochet or on the chapstick you want it to go. Let me see. Okay, Is this my next one? And this one. Okay. Let's see. I didn't pay attention to what stitch I got my stitch marker from. There's our first one. On to the next. And while it's tiny like this, it is hard to kind of hold on to. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So another successful round. We're going to keep going. See how it's starting to look like a tube? We're getting there. On another note, so acrylic yarn will work just fine, and I definitely don't mind it for this kind of project because it does have a good grip to it versus if I use like a softer yarn like this one. But my favorite yarn to use for this type of project is cotton. It's a lot more durable in the sense of like attaching it to your bag, and it like the texture feels a lot better too. So if you did end up wanting to buy a yarn specifically for this project, I would recommend maybe buying a really cute pink or red or some sort of Valentine's Day like cotton yarn. That's typically what I make these out of whenever I make chapstick holders. But I didn't have any red cotton yarn today, so I decided to go with red acrylic. So it's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And once you have this part kind of set and you've done at least like 4 or 5 rows, it works up really fast, but it's also a lot easier to hold on to. That's my first stitch. Put our stitch marker back. But see how easy it would be to just go around and around without having to use a stitch marker? Uh-oh. I feel my yarn is tangled. Give me 1 second while I untangle this so I can get more yarn. Okay. I've got some more yarn untangled, and we're going to keep going. So you did 1. Now we're on 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7, 8, 9, and 10. Let's take a little side profile view of how it's looking out. It looks cute. And again, I'm using a relatively tiny hook, so you can use like probably up to 4.5 and it still look pretty nice and uniform. Again, just be wary, you might have to adjust how many stitches you start off with in your magic circle. But I'm going to take a quick little pause here just to show you. Hold on. There we go. It's out of my way. To show you what it would look like. Bam. Look, it's gonna be so nice. It's gonna hold it together so well. And acrylic does have a bit of not too much elasticity, but a little bit of give. That's the word I'm looking for. So again, be wary, or at least cognizant of how many stitches you will need in your rounds. But what I used feels like the sweet number, especially for this size of chapstick. Let's keep going. Again, I'd rather it be a little bit snug right now because I know it is going to stretch a little bit with time. And I'm assuming since you are spending the time, energy, effort, and love in making this project for someone, who I'm assuming cares about you as well, that you want it to last a good amount of time. That way they can enjoy it for longer. 2, 3. That being said, acrylic yarn's very durable, but I would recommend cotton for this project. But if you don't have that, you don't have to buy something new. Whatever you have will work just fine. 4. Oops. 5. 6. 7, 8, 9, 10. Also, this yarn is pretty old, and not like yarn has an expiration date or anything, but it has gone through a good amount of wear and tear. In fact, the reason why I have this specific ball of yarn, and if the sister who I'm talking about is watching this video, this is what happened to that Christmas project. She asked for, or gave me an idea for some Christmas things or presents that she might like. And one of them was this purse. And it was a heart-shaped purse, so kind of fitting for Valentine's Day. Maybe for one of the projects for this week, I'll finish that purse. But it was my first ever tapestry crochet. And let me go back and count. 1, 2, 3. It was a tapestry crochet, so there was a lot of color changes and that kind of stuff. But this was one of the color changes, and what it was this heart purse that shifted from this red to a pink color. And it was super cute, but I only finished one side of it, and I've never finished the other side. I just ran out of time, wasn't going to get it done before Christmas, so I've never picked it back up. But who knows, maybe for this special 14 days of Valentine's that we're doing, I'll pick it back up. But anyways, to the sister I'm talking about, sorry, that's what happened with that Christmas present I promised you. 1, 2, 3... 4, 5, 6. Oops. 7, 8, 9, 10. But I also think that's why this isn't looking as neat as it possibly could, because this yarn has gone through much of traveling, much of storage movement. I do not blame it for looking a little raggedy. 1. So since we're talking about Valentine's Day, let me know in the comments if schools still do like where you bring Valentine's Day for your like little cards and stuff for your friends. And I think that we should have that at work too. 1, 2, 3, And is that just going to be a ploy for me to get free candy? Like, probably. I like sweet treats. I just want more excuses to be given sweet treats, honestly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, no, 7, 8, 9, 10, yeah, this is 7, 8, 9, 10. And also, I told you, one of the big things I hope to accomplish with this channel is really showing you step by step how to do something. Because could I fast forward through all of this? 100%. Or should you fast forward through this? Yeah, if you don't need it, go on ahead till the end when I show you how to make, like, how to attach the keychain to it. I'm so fine with that. I don't expect you to watch this all the way through if you don't need to. But for those people who do need or work better having someone walk them through every step, that's why my videos are longer, because I want to make sure that you're catered to as well. 2, 3, because I know when I was learning how to crochet, I found that so frustrating whenever I found a pattern that I really liked and I was following it and we were going through it and then they skipped several steps ahead and I still had questions on the steps we were working on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Make sure to try to keep your tension even. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Because of how simple this pattern is, I can actually talk to y'all while I'm counting and crocheting. Not very well, as you've seen. I've had to go back a couple of times. Look, we're almost done, you guys. I think I want to do 1 more round, possibly even 2, and then we'll put it in our little sleeve and see how it looks. That's 1. Put our stitch marker back. And you could probably even do a double crochet and still have a project that works. 2. For this kind of thing, I like doing the single crochet because of the look of it. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, got that. Let's go ahead and try it out. So I'm going to take my stitch marker off. Let's go ahead and put it in here. Again, I did it with the purpose of it being a little bit more snug because I know it will stretch. And also I have a little trick that we're going to do here in a little bit too. Okay. I think maybe 2 or 3 more rounds and we should be good to finish. So let's keep going. And again, I used a 3. You're fine if you use 3.5, even a 4. I think that would still hold it as well. Okay. 1. My yarn keeps splitting. 1, 2. Oops, I made that loop too big. Trying to do my best to keep my tension even. 2. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. Oh, sorry, I'm moving my leg. My leg's falling asleep. Okay, ignore all that noise. Let's get a little bit more yarn. Okay. I think I want to do 2 more rounds. So while I'm working on this one, let me know down below. And I appreciate, and maybe it's unwillingly, but I appreciate y'all listening to my ramblings. It's helping me, quite honestly, stay awake because it's pretty late at night. But that's besides the point. So 1, 2, but let me know down below who's your Valentines this year. 2, 3. Or do y'all have any Valentine's Day plans? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. I remember one of my husband's and I's first Valentine's Day, and I think we were still dating at this time, if I recall correctly, but he would remember better than I do. And I was really excited to go to this local steak place, because we live in a smaller town. I mean, I know some people's towns only have like 300. We're not that small, but we'd still definitely have more of a small town feel, I would say. But there was this steakhouse, and it was really famous, and everyone in the town that I lived in raved by it and said, oh, it was the best. 1, 2, 3. So we thought, oh, and we were young. We got married actually pretty young. We joke all the time that we were babies, but we thought that we would be able to get into the restaurant on Valentine's Day in the most popular spot in our town. We were sorely mistaken. So instead, we went to, I would consider it an American restaurant, and they were having a Valentine's Day special of lobster and steak. I'm going to count this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And this was by no means a fancy place, but I'm kid you not, that was the best lobster and steak that I had, and it was very, very affordable too. So typically now when I think of Valentine's Day or like dates that we had on Valentine's Day, I think of that one because it makes me smile, because the plans we had did not end up happening, but the plans that we ended up because the plans we had ended up not happening, but what did happen was so much better than what we would have planned anyways. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I lost count again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Did I count that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, yeah. I'm on the right track. 10. Here's that. Okay, let's do one more round. One more round and then we'll try it again. 1, 2. Let's go ahead and put that stitch marker on that 1. 2. 3. next one. 3. Sorry, you guys. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. 10. If we're go on to measure, I did want to point something out that I spoke about earlier in the video, that when you work in rounds like I am, instead of joining your rounds together, see how this is ending up a little bit higher than right here? And that's what I mean by kind of goes in a diagonal, but I guess that wasn't the right terminology. It's more like a coil, if you think about it. But this gets the job done. For something like this, you really don't have to go that extra mile of doing a slip stitch for each row. You can if you want to, and by all means, go for it, but it will still look very nice even if you don't do that. Okay. Yeah, look at this! It's so cute! Okay, and so now from here, we're going on to step 2, because I like this length. I like how you can still grip it with your fingers to pull it out. And even though it's tough pulling it out, again, trust the process. We want it to be a little bit tight right now. Okay, so next, what we're going to do, because I like that length, we're going to count back 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's going to be kind of here. So I want it to kind of fold this way. And next, what we're going to do is we're going to crochet 1. And we're going to go back into the second chain from our hook. So I crocheted 1, going here, and doing a single crochet. 1, and we're going to do that again. Into the next one. 2, 3, 4, and before I do the 5th one, it's up to you whether or not you want to do 4 or 5. What we're doing, so you can understand where we're headed, is we're making a flap, I guess you would call it, to attach this to. So actually, it's more narrow than I thought it was going to be, so I'm good with 4. And honestly, you could probably get away with just doing 3. Up to you, though. So now that I've got my 4, I'm going to chain 1 again, and we're going to work right here. So the second one from your hook. So it's 2, or 1, sorry. 2, 3, 4. So see how it's already, well, you can't see now. Now you can see. See how it's forming something or somewhat of a lip, or tongue, I guess is a better word for it. So when it gets longer, we're going to be able to fold it over and sew it so this doesn't go anywhere. So again, crochet 1. Turn it around. And again, we're not crocheting into our chain 1 that we just did. We're doing it from the second chain from the hook. So that's 1, 2. There's 1 single crochet, 2 single crochet, 3 single crochet, 4 single crochet. And if you really are in a rush and want to get done with this, go ahead and do double crochets, whatever you prefer. 1, 2, 3, 4, and you can make this part as long or as short as you want. 1, 2, 3, 4, crochet 1, 1, 2, 3, more yarn, 4, one. 1, 2, 3, 4. And if you don't want to follow along with me, you can go ahead and skip. I do have timestamps in everything I do. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. I'm probably going to add more, but I just kind of want to show y'all a little bit more of a visual of what I'm talking about. So this is going to fit here. And we're going to crochet this, or more like sew it on right here. So it just depends on how much of a lip you want. I'm going to do a little bit more because I like mine, like I think I want there to be this much of space in between there. That way it kind of moves around a little bit. But if you want it more secured, then you can do it here and it won't flap around as much. Do you like my technical jargon? It's all very scientific. Let's go back and crochet maybe 2 more rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. I didn't like the way that looked. Let me undo that chain. It looked a little funny. I think it's because the yarn split. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oops. Just kidding. I jumped the gun. 4. And I'm just kind of folding it over, seeing, or do I? 2 more. Another 2 more. 1, 2, 3, 4. In one of these videos, I'm eventually going to do an oops counter to see how many times I say oops in a video. Okay, I like that. Let me grab this. So again, you can do this however you want. You can sew it like that if you'd like. You can sew it like that. And actually, now that I'm seeing it, I think I'm going to do something more like this. A little bit closer. Yeah, I think I like that. So I'm going to go ahead and finish off my project. All I'm going to do is just pull through my loop. I'm going to pull on this loop. And you don't need too much yarn to sew the tail, but you do want to leave a decent amount just so you don't have to reattach more yarn. And next what we're going to do is I'm going to grab my little, I forget if it's called, it's not Derringer, darning needle. There we go. Derringer, that's something different. Again, it's very late at night, so you guys get late night Giselle rambles and a show and a tutorial all in one. So what we're going to do, and if you want to sew it towards the back here, so it has more of this look, you're more than welcome to. If you want to sew it to the front here, to where it has more of this look, you're more than welcome to. Customize it however you want. Sometimes I like seeing how it's going to look both ways. There you go. So we could go like this. I'm kind of leaning towards this, actually. Or like this. And I think I've decided I'm going to do it the other way. So I have that on there. Put this through here just to make it a little easier on me. Move that around. I was just thinking, that reminded me of that one commercial. How did it go? Like, you could go with this, or you could go with that. Or you could go with this, or you could go with that. And then something, but this is where it's at. Anyways, I'm sorry. I'm so tired, you guys. No, I'm not. I'm alive. I am doing fantastic. So all we're going to do is super simple. We're just sewing through both pieces. I'm trying to stay as close to the lower loops of the stitch as I can, just so it looks uniformed. And then checking over here. Trying to keep everything nice and even. Oops. And you can do this as many times as you want. I would just recommend at least twice going back and forth. That way it's pretty secure. And also, oops, don't do that. Okay. And also, I didn't want to pull on that as much. Hold on. Okay. I'm also going to make a little knot here. Just for some added security, but I'm going to keep going. Let me go through here. There we go. Another Valentine's date that Dakota and I went on. This one, I know we were dating for. And so maybe this was actually our first Valentine's date. I was working at a real estate office at that time, and I get a call from him, and he's like, "Hey, I have a surprise for you. Be ready by this time." And I was like, "Okay, what is it?" And he's like, "I can't tell you. It's a surprise." I'm like, "All right." And then all of a sudden I get another phone call from him, and he's like, so I kind of messed up, which is a great way to start any conversation, right? And he goes, "I had planned a surprise for us, but I got my times wrong, so it's actually supposed to start in like 1 hour." And I'm like, "I'm at work, honey. I can't go. Like, is it like an expensive thing?" And he's like, yeah, it was a good amount of money." And I'm like, "Oh, okay. Well, I don't know what to do. Do you think maybe we could get a refund?" And he's like, "Okay, I'll try. Let me call you back." I'm like, "Okay." So I'm there kind of stressing, thinking like, "Oh man, poor guy. He planned a surprise and it's not turning out right." So what it was, and what I found out later, because he did end up telling me what the surprise was. It was one of those gondola rides. Oops. In a bigger city that I live close to, that they have like a random river in a random like area you can do a gondola ride. But I'm in Texas, by the way, so you don't think like gondola rides in Texas, you know? But we do have those. We have everything here in Texas. And we did end up rescheduling and going on a date. He did have to pay extra because of the rescheduling. But it was so cool. It was so fun. But the funny part that makes me smile, and what I think often about when I think about this memory, is the guy who was giving the boat ride, I guess you would say, or the gondola ride. He was like, "So all good gondola," he didn't use the word workers, but I'm going to use that for now, like, not pilots, whatever they're called, captains maybe, are experts in some sort of music. Some of us play instruments and other of us sing. I'm personally a singer. Do you mind if I serenade y'all some? And we're like, "Okay, sure." So we were thinking it was going to be soft, or like nothing too crazy. And then it's silent for a little while, and we're facing the opposite way from him. And then all of a sudden we hear, I do not have a good singing voice, so bear your ears. All of a sudden we hear, "Wise men." And it was so good. Don't get me wrong, his voice was so good, but it caught us so off guard that we jumped some. But it was a super fun time. That was a very fun date, very memorable date. And we got some really cute pictures too, but highly recommend getting serenaded in the gondola. But after all that long story, which was way longer than I intended to, we have finished our little chapstick holder. So I finished sewing this, so if you want to tie it off, you can make a knot there and then kind of hide it, the string if you'd like. That's what I'm going to do because I did knot this several times, so I feel pretty good and secure in it. But I've also before kind of crocheted it or hid my piece of my yarn downward into my chapstick holder. I just wouldn't go too far with it just because you don't want it to mess with the inside of your chapstick if it like gets caught on anything, you know? So I'm just going to kind of weave in and out a little bit. I don't want to do it too much to where it's noticeable though. There you go. And then I'm just going to cut this piece. And you could go all the way down if you want. I've done that before too, but for this purpose, cut there. And then we're just going to pull on it a little bit. And that's going to help hide it. So look, we've made our keychain. How festive. So next, I'm going to put this in here. And it's sometimes hard, especially with these because of the textured bottoms, to place it down this way. But I should be able to get it. Or maybe not. I might do it this way. This way it's always easier because it has the smoother. But let me see if I can get it this way. But again, bear with me. I know it's going to be a little bit tight right now, but that is part of it because what we're going to do next. Hold on. Okay, I take it back. That way was annoying me. We're just going to go with the the path of less resistance. Because what we're going to do next is we're going to actually spray it with water to wet it. And the reason why we're going to do that is because I want this to hold its shape without the chapstick having to be there. I didn't really want to spray it here, but I want to show y'all from start to finish. So let me do that. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm going to use my handy dandy paper plate. And all we're going to do, this is literally just plain water, nothing fancy, nothing special. And we're just going to spray it. I did not mean to saturate it that much. So I'm just going to roll it in the water. And because we're a few days out from Valentine's Day, and because this chapstick is new, so it's all wrapped around in plastic, this is a perfect time to do this because it's going to have time to dry. So I'm going to leave it out, rub it more in the water. But I'm going to leave it out to dry. I do recommend not saturating it as much as I did. I didn't realize it was on that hard of a spray right now. So my bad, but mistakes happen in crochet. And honestly, that's part of the fun part of it. But that's it. I just wet it and now we're going to let it dry. And I will show you what it looks like probably tomorrow morning once it's had some time to dry. Maybe even a full day. Okay, are y'all ready for the reveal? So just a reminder, I sprayed it, I left it overnight, and this is our final outcome. Now you may be wondering, Giselle, has the problem with the chapstick coming in and out easily been solved by the water spraying? You tell me. So we're going to push very slightly on this just to lift it up, and I guess I could have technically done like one row less. But look! And see how it holds its shape? So that's why we wet it, so that it can still look like a chapstick holder, even though the chapstick isn't in there. And then we're going to put it back in. Ooh, look at that. So again, I used whatever hook I used for this one. I don't remember now. It's been a day and a half since I originally filmed this. But you can use a bigger one if you want it to be a little bit more snug, or if you're using a bigger chapstick. This would be such a good gift for your sisters, your friends, your enemies, that one random person you saw at the movie theater that you thought, they could use some chapstick. Look, just carry a bunch of these around with you and you'll be all set. See, and just keep in mind, you can alter this however you want. This is just what I did for this first project. But there we go. And we're just going to slide it back in there. Oh, it's so cute. And it hangs places, or you can put on your keychain. And again, the reason why I make it snug is because, look, I'm holding it upside down. It's not going anywhere. Because that's the worst, when you think you have chapstick in your bag or your wallet or your purse, and then it's not there. Here we go. A nice 360. How cute. And I think it's good to compliment yourself every once in a while. And I think my stitches look very uniformed. So go me, go us, because I bet yours looks amazing too. Thank you all so much for watching our day 1 of our Valentine's Day craft countdown. I'll think of a better name. Comment below if you're going to make one of these and who you're going to make it for. Also, be sure to stay tuned for tomorrow when we make another Valentine's Day themed project. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see y'all in the video tomorrow.